My name is Frederick Kiseka Ntale. I'm Ugandan and I work with the Development Research and Social Policy Analysis Center.
My name is Doris Buss. I am a professor in the Department of Law and Legal Studies at Carleton University.
My name is Rwanda and I work for an NGO called Partnership Africa Canada, based in Ottawa.
We are interested in addressing three quick questions. And one of those questions is, what forms of control do women in mining do have, especially in the context of East and Central Africa? Secondly, we are interested in understanding whether governments in East and Central Africa, specifically in Uganda, Rwanda, and DRC, take women and gender issues into consideration during the process of policy framing. We're also interested in appreciating the economic activities and economic possibilities of women who are involved in artisanal mining, especially in the three countries mentioned above. And we have a deeper conviction that women activities during artisanal mining processes are highly unrepresented and unreported about, especially in the context of policy and the context of regulation.
There's very little research on artisanal and small-scale mining in general, and there is much less study of women's roles in artisanal and small-scale mining. What we do know, though, is that women participate in large numbers, and this is largely overlooked. So there's very limited knowledge about what roles women play and their impact on the sector and how changes in the sector impact women. So the first important part of our project is actually to make the focus on women, to bring women into artisanal and small-scale mining so that they are present, to gender this area in effect. The second thing that's important about this project and the way it fits with the GROW project more generally is that it focuses on women's roles in artisanal and small-scale mining in the context of a very dramatic change in the policy environment where you have the enactment of a series of legal interventions and policy interventions and those are being rolled out without any attention to women's roles in artisanal and small-scale mining. So this project will also fill that gap as well by exploring how women are in fact being impacted by these changes. This project also is significant in elucidating, or beginning to explore rather, the roles of women or the gendered impacts of supply chain management, which is a growing focus amongst a range of policy actors, a range of activists, to try to certify the human rights or the conflict-free or the gender equality dimensions of various commodities. And those initiatives, while very well intended, clearly have a gendered component, and that is also not present and needs to be.
The idea of success of the project for me, I think, is at three levels. On the one hand, we are looking to address a significant gap in essentially data and information about the artisanal sector and women's role within the sector in particular. So we want to make sure that we have pertinent and accurate information about women's participation in the artisanal sector, and here we are focusing primarily on tin, tungsten, tantalum, and gold in our three countries of study, Uganda, Rwanda, and DRC. So our success at one level would be to generate data, accurate information, but also deep information, context-specific information. And that leads into the second, essentially, successful outcome, which would be that information is used by policymakers to improve the policies and the programs that are in development at the moment. And then a third component would be to, in partnership with our partners that we invest in, and we see that our local partners in particular, the capacity to do research, deep research, long-term research is improved. And that in turn that this contributes to other projects of a similar nature. I think in terms of uptake at the policy level, strategies for success would be to build on the existing relationships the current consortium partners have with intergovernmental bodies, with national governments, with intergovernmental bodies like the OECD, and as we are participating already in existing legal and regulatory discussions and forums to put on the table this issue of women's participation, evidence that can then be used to be integrated into these activities and these vast policy and regulatory reforms that are currently underway.